Now it's time to hear from our winner in the startup category. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the best DevSecOps SRE Project of the Year Startup Award. And now let's give a victory wave to our winner in this category, Katonic India Private Limited.
First of all, I want to show my genuine gratitude to the entire DevOps India Summit for acknowledging Katonic for this prestigious award for best use of AIOps, MLOps, blockchain, and VSM in DevOps, DevSecOps and SRE Project of the Year. So before starting my presentation, I would like to introduce myself. I am Subhrajit. I am from Odisha. I have nearly 12 years of industry experience in various roles, including leadership roles. Even though I had various business roles, I still love technology. Previously, I worked in multiple profiles like data analyst, data engineer, data scientist, DevOps engineer, and that helped me to understand MLOps better. Here in Katonic, I am leading the engineering team. Before working in Katonic, I had my own startup where I used to build machine learning use cases for government of my state. I worked for a couple of years and realized we need a product like Katonic to scale a machine learning application. So I joined Katonic as a technical director. Prior to that, I worked for companies like General Electric, Grant Thornton, Tech Systems, and Infosys. So with that, let me explain about the DevOps and MLOps concepts first, and the journey how Katonic helped these tools to solve business problems. So let's spend some time understanding these two, right? These two terms, like, because it's very confusing to understand what is DevOps and what is MLOps. So DevOps is a set of practices that aims to shorten a system development lifecycle and provide continuous delivery with high software quality. At the same time, you can think of MLOps as a specialist subset of DevOps for machine learning application and projects. MLOps is a process of automation and productionization of machine learning application and workflows. So both DevOps and MLOps aims to place a piece of software in a repeatable and fault-tolerant workflow. But in MLOps, that software also has a machine learning component, right? And few components I can explain now. And with my presentation, you can also able to get those information, like what are the components we use and what are the problem we are solving. So let's discuss about the model lifecycle, which I am showing you over here. So let's talk about when any company start a journey or start any kind of application, ML applications, to solve for a particular business use cases. What are the steps they are following, and what are the best practices they could follow to get a proper result, or you can say the perfect result, and they can move those model into production. So initially, what happened when you have any use case, you are collecting your offline data, or you can say historical data, and you hire few data scientists, and you give those data scientists certain platform to build your use case, right? And what happens? Data scientists use a lot of open source tool. Why? Because they need to do a lot of experimentation and prototype. And why is that? Because data scientists are called scientists for a reason, right? Because they definitely need to explore more and experiment more, and they need to compare their existing work with the previous work or future work, what they are going to do. All this comparison, after all this comparison, they would come to a conclusion regarding which process or patterns can give you certain results, right, for a particular business use cases. So here what happens, when once they get the historical data, they do a lot of experimentation by following certain techniques. You can say that data collection, data selection, data exploration, feature engineering, of course, model prototyping, model validation. So a lot of experimentation in prototyping stages, right? And during this time, what they do, they should track those experiments, because if I track my experiment, I can get back to any number of time and review that what kind of result I got for a particular data, and that helps me to analyze more and gives you better results, right? That's why we need this experimentation prototyping. But this process is not scalable, because what is happening over here is there is a standalone server where they do this experimentation, but when we talk about productionization of this implementation, that is not something coming out. That's why Katonic helps you to do all these component without having any DevOps knowledge, or you can say any infra knowledge, right? And how that happens, by using a tool called automation, which we build as part of the platform, where your existing code, which you don't need to even change that, right? Your existing code can be converted into a scalable pipeline that runs on Kubernetes, and each component is scalable and running as a separate container, so that it is scaling based on your load. And once your entire pipeline is executed, then it's scaled down to zero, whatever your initial configuration was, right? So that's how you can get the scalability. Now, once you get this pipeline, what happens? You need to connect with your actual data, because what happened when you work with your historical data, sometimes what happened, you cannot compare with your actual data whether that is kind of differentiating between your historical data or not, right? That's why you can connect to your actual data using this pipeline. And once you connect, then this entire pipeline will run and will give you the model results, right? And that is where you can save those models into model registry, where you can maintain your models in different versions, because at any point of time, I can go back and check which version of model I created and what data I have used and what source I have used. Everything can be configured, right? And you can have those information very efficient. And once you register those models, then there are different ways to consume those models. First way is converting to a REST API endpoints. And why this is crucial? Because you might be working using Katonic platform to build those models, but at the same time, you want the results which is coming out in terms of model, right, to use in your application. That might be your mobile application, maybe chatbots, maybe web applications, which is independent to the platform. So you can do that using this model API, right? And it's a separate endpoint which is giving automatically by using the platform. Now, the second way to consume is using web app. Why web app is crucial? Because your business has to understand that how the behavioral changes on the data comes based on the model, right? And the predictive capability and all these things can be visible, right, using web apps. So that's a very nice way to represent your model. Then the third one is BI tools. Why BI tools? Because few organizations, what happened, they have their standard way to use certain BI tools like Tableau or Power BI, where they just load the data and try to see the patterns or try to see what are the information I am getting from the data. And that is where this is very useful, right? And normally what happened in analytics world, you are just analyzing the data. It's like a prescriptive analytics, right? But what we are providing the capability is predictive analytics. On top of your prescriptive, you can also get into predictive analytics. And how that will helpful? Because you can decide better in your future investments, right? And that solves a business problem. So this kind of integrations can be done easily. I'll like to add one point over here. In one of the client, what we have done in terms of this use case, they had their Tableau server, but they wanted to use Katonic to build their model, right? AI model. And what we did, we created this automation pipeline where every Friday their inference is automatically loading into their Tableau server, and they are looking at the fresh dashboards. And every week they are looking at the fresh dashboards. It is not a prescriptive, not only prescriptive dashboards, it is also a predictive dashboard. So that kind of helps them to prepare better for the future, right? And this kind of things you can do by using this. And lastly, but not the it's like not the end, because we also have to monitor our model, because that is very necessary to understand whether our model is performing good or not. And that's why we have integrated a performance monitoring capability, where once you deploy any model, then you can also monitor the performance, right? And if you think that model is not behaving properly, you can also able to change that, right? Or you retrain your model, or you can rerun the model. So this is where I want to highlight few points. Now, let me talk about how Katonic uses this DevOps and MLOps, right? I have already explained you about the complete life cycle. Now let's discuss like how our platform is collaborative, right? I can show you my platform. I can show you the demo based on what request. So let me show you the platform demo first, how it looks like. Then we can see, right? If you come to our platform, the first thing you can see is the dashboard, and the dashboard will have your recent works, recent pipelines and pipeline runs, where you can come here and you can select certain workspace if you want to use it, which you have already created and all. Apart from that, we also provide you the ability to select certain elements, like if you want to raise a ticket, if you want to view your ticket, if you want to check for a documentation, everything link is configured over here. And if you want to talk to us directly based on your licensing, we can also available here itself. So as part of the platform, you are getting everything. Now the second thing is the workspaces, where the experimentation phase is started, where you can see I can create my workspace. These are my recent workspaces, and it includes different elements, like you can have workspace created using different tools like Jupyter Lab, Jupyter, VS Code, and RStudio. And you can also how can you create that, right? You can just put a name. You can select certain ID environment. You can select the framework of your choice. Then you can select certain resources. How to create a standalone server for your machine learning experimentation element. So you can select that. You can create, then automatically that workspace is going to be created over here. Now let's see how Katonic helps you to build those experiments, right, by using certain tools. So let's go back and check the tools called Katonic Studio, right? If I click connect, it's very simple. You can just click connect and you can connect to the platform. You can see the logs over here. You can delete this platform. Even you can stop the workspace because if you want to make your resource available, so that you can do that. Now, once your workspace is spun, then you can create a lot of different way to use cases by dragging and dropping. Suppose I have two notebooks over here, which data scientist built. And first one is load data. Second one is an PyCaret model. It is nothing but a auto ML framework, which can be used. So what you can do, you can just drag and drop those components, and you can connect between them, and you can run the pipeline. So isn't it? It's very easy, right? So you can just come here. You can drag and drop. You can connect between them, and you can have your pipeline ready. So that's how simple it is to create a pipeline on the code. Now, next thing is we have file browser, where we have given you the ability to store your data, because there are few elements which I want to highlight. One is collaboration, where your data scientists can collaborate with each other. Second thing is monitoring, where your infra can be monitored very efficiently. Now the version control system. Initially we thought version control only for code, but now the world is moving towards a next generation of applications which are coming, and we need, definitely, apart from the code, we need data versioning, even pipeline versioning, even model versioning. So all these versioning also can be integrated. And of course model validation, because data scientists before moving into production, they just need to validate their models. So that's why model validation is also a crucial role. And the transmission of the pipelines, right? Because raw data cannot be understandable by the model, right? So you need to transform those raw data. So that's why transmission of the pipeline is a crucial role as part of the entire ecosystem. So here the versioning which I have mentioned. Let's talk about the data versioning, where I am showing you my file browser in the product, where you can come here. You can even use specific bucket. You can consider these as just like S3, which Amazon provides. but it has more intuitive UI in terms of handling the data. If you see here, you can also see the different versions of the data you can see. So I can maintain different versions of my data where if at any point of time I am using certain data to build my models, I can go back and check, right, which data I have used. So that's why the capability is there. So this is where the data versioning is quite interesting to use. Now, here there is one more point which I want to highlight is called access token, where you can create your own token. You can share with your colleague or different user for certain duration. Till that time, they can also use your data or they can see your data. So role-based access is everything is configured as part of this file manager. Now let's talk about experimentation, because experimentation is one of the other key which we provide. That is where you can have your experimentation. So there are a lot of experimentation you can track. You can go and check which experimentation I have created, what metrics I have used. All these things is been integrated. So I told about data versioning, I told about experiment and model versioning, right? So this is experimentation at any point of time. Now let's talk about the model versioning. So model versioning is something which we created, and for any model, right? For any model, you can have multiple versions of your model, and you can use one of the model to production, because you might have a lot of experimentation, but which model you are moving into production, that actually matters, right? And that is where your data scientist can evaluate those models and come up with the conclusion that which model need to go to production. So that is where we have this model registry and versioning capability as part of the product. Now let's talk about the pipelines, because pipelines are most important component, right? There are, if you see, there are a lot of different failed pipelines and runnable pipelines, whatnot, right? And it's very simple. Once you start running any job, you convert into pipelines, which I showed you, that runs like this. And once you come here, you can also check for your pipeline. The details can be seen over here, and all these details can be seen. And this can be scheduled, right? How can you schedule? If you go to recurring run, create run, you can select your pipe. So let me select a pipe called customer churn. Then I can select the version. As of now, this customer churn has different versions. Which versions, separate version I can select, because I told about pipeline versioning, right? So you can have your different versions of your pipeline. So that also can be maintained. And once you select that, you can put a name, and you can select the experiments. Once I select the experiments, then I can select recurring option, and you can have a start date, you can have an end date, and you can run every hour, minute, weeks, and months. All these things can be done. So it's like you convert your pipes from your code, and the pipeline can be scheduled. And as I mentioned about one of the use case which we have done for our client, then that is where we build this pipeline, and the pipeline automatically loads the data on the Tableau server, and getting the fresh data, right, every time. So this is one of the possibility, but the possibility of using the pipeline is infinity, right? You can do whatever you want. Suppose you have multiple sources, you can build your different codes, and you can connect those different sources with your actual implementation, where you collecting those data and processing those data in terms of maybe your feature engineering technique or different techniques you have followed. Even you can use different algorithms, and all these things can be done using the product. And then I'll explain about the deployment, because that is the end point of the entire journey, where you want to deploy your model and apps. You can deploy apps, you even create apps using the product. If you click here, if you see, this is one of the sample app which is already posted. So this is one of the sample app which is created using the platform, and you can create a lot of different apps and variety of apps, right? I can show you n number of apps which we deploy, right? And it will be amazing to create those apps using the platform. And it's very simple. You can come over here, you can select apps, you can just choose different apps, which app you need to deploy. You just fill the details and you can deploy the apps. And that is one aspect. The second aspect is you can also deploy the model. It is also very simple. You can just come here, you can select a model name, then select which model you want to deploy. I mentioned about the model registry where we register a model into a production, right, stage. So the production stage model will be visible over here, and you can select the type of the model based on what kind of model it is, right? Whether it's a classification, regression, or maybe it's an NLP. So all these different types you can select, and you can select the resources. And once you select the resources, you can deploy the model. Once you deploy the model, then you will get one API endpoint where you can just use that endpoint by generating a token. By combining both, you can able to predict the inferences, right? So that is where the automation and DevOps is helping in the product, that we follow DevOps standard. We implemented ML standard on top of DevOps standard, and we merge it. And apart from that, we use very popular tools like Red Hat Peak Clock for security. We use Kubeflow pipelines for the pipeline implementation, which is the most popular pipeline in a scalable pipeline manner. You can do a lot of things, right? So we did that, and at the end, the complete automation can give you a deployment which you don't even need to do anything manually, right? That is what it is happened. And you can also see your model documentation, right? That's why we integrated Swagger as part of the model. So that you can come over here, you can see what are the different routes it is, and you can even use that to call your inference, test your inference, and check the accuracy and whatnot. Even we also integrate the monitoring capability. Monitoring, when you start calling your model, automatically the data will be generated. As of now, memory and CPU is already available where you can see the graphs. Similarly, you can able to see the lot of different graphs where you can compare your matrices, and you can finalize which model is performing good, right? That is where we implemented DevOps monitoring tool called Grafana and Prometheus to capture those information. So I would like to highlight a few points that so what is happening over here, right? Now, natively, each user is actually doing certain things, and incrementally, you can take a particular use case and move into production. And the platform where the data scientists can experiment, hand over to machine learning engineers, and who can build pipelines, put that model into production by converting into an API. And then you have the operation team who is continuously monitoring that. And every time the performance of the model deteriorates, you can read your model. And it is all these things in a single platform. As an organization perspective, what it means that organization now can do more with fewer data scientists. Basically, the practices enables this automation of a factory where with just few people, you can run the entire manufacturing factory, which saves a lot of resources for any organization. That is exactly what Katonic does, right? And you can handle hundreds and thousands of models without any manual intervention. And you are all doing by is sitting and looking at those dashboard to ensure that everything is going all right, and just get it when it is required. So you don't have to monitor all the time. So the platform will be able to take care. As I said, the platform runs on Kubernetes, which is scalable. You pay only when you use it. And that gives a lot of benefits because the data scientists need a high GPU during the training process. And you need stable servers and environment during model services. So all these things is managed, right? And you don't have to worry about any infra, anything, because runs on Kubernetes. You just need to have need to provide Kubernetes cluster. After that, Katonic will be able to handle everything. And I showed you the AI model lifecycle, right? And we follow the process released by Google. And initially, what happened? This kind of platform they build for themselves internally. Companies like Google, Ubers, and Facebooks of the world. But currently, what happened? We want the companies to use this platform to build a lot of AI use cases, because that is the only way to grow in future, right? And we are going to provide that. With this, I would like to conclude my thoughts, and happy to give any information if you want to get some information from me. And if you want to visit our website, there also you can get a lot of information about Katonic and how Katonic helps the businesses to solve AI problems. And we also have a free version of our platform. It's a individual free, but you won't have the enterprise components, but you still can get the flavor of the platform, where you can just visit our website. You can get that. Thank you.